the demo for the basic cup, and I have my first gather on the blowpipe now, and I'm about to start the bubble. Keep working on the bubble until I get it just where I want it, which is to be able to see clear all the way around with extra at the bottom. And then we wait for it to cool so we can take our second gather. What I'm looking for is all the heat to be gone out of the glass, no yellow showing anymore, and dull red heat in the blowpipe. That's a good condition for a second gather, so let's go get the second gather. Nice even second gather. Notice the overlap at the top of the gathers is nice and even. I'm going to use a lot of pressure on the lip of the block to pull the glass off to my right. Get that nice even uniform shape, just like on page 21. And at this point you can see that there's like cold spot right off the end of the blowpipe around the old bubble, and the rest of the glass is really hot. So if you were to blow the bubble right now, that wouldn't work out too well. It would just kind of go wherever it wanted. So what we need to do is reheat a couple of times to get the whole thing the same temperature. So we're all the way into glory hole now. In other words, the glass is in past the door. What I'm looking for is movement in the glass. That's how I can tell how hot it is. So right about now, it feels like it's pretty hot. So I'm going to go back to the bench, and you can see that it's changed shape as it was heating in the glory hole. So I'm going to block it back into shape again. Still looks cold up near the blowpipe though. I can see a color difference up here. It's starting to become more uniform here, but right around the blowpipe still needs a little bit more heat, so I'm going for another heat in the glory hole. Hot again, so back to the block. And get it back into shape again, because every time you heat up, the shape changes. And now that it's nice and shaped, I'm going to go ahead and blow out the bubble about half to 3/4 of the way. Right there. At this point, you can see there's extra thickness at the bottom, and the bubble has blown right out to the edge of the blowpipe here, which is really good. That's right where you want to be. But too cold to do anything with, so I'm going back to the glory hole to heat again. Okay, so now it's nice and hot. I'm going to stretch the bubble just a little bit. And then sit down and take my jacks and start my jack line. And once I get the jack line in a little bit, I don't want to close the bubble off or anything. You can see it's really moving fast. I want to blow it out bigger right now. what happened was the whole bubble blew bigger, including the shoulder and the jack line. So I'm going to jack it again, make the jack line small. And since it's still hot, I'm going to blow it out even a little more. And right about here is where I want to stop, because I can still have my thickness at the bottom, but I can see that the wall thickness all the way up to the jack line is pretty even. So now it's time to reheat. But I'm not going to reheat the whole thing, just up to the shoulder. Try and keep the jack line a little bit cool. When I come out of the glory hole, I can stretch it, and it'll start to make a cylinder all by itself, just from gravity. Then when I go back to the bench, I take my jacks and I flatten the sides to make it even more cylindrical. So we're working from the jack line toward the bottom. At this point, the jack line's good, the sides are good. I need to reheat the bottom so I can flatten it. And at this time, I'm just heating the very bottom. And I'm going to go flash my neck to make sure it stays warm, but then just heat the bottom because I don't want to move the sides anymore. Carefully flatten the bottom and then re-flatten the sides because you can see that it kind of bulged out a little bit right in the corner. Alright, so there's our first half of the cup done. Honey, please. I just asked somebody to go and bring me the transfer. So he's taking the gather. I'm going to go in the glory hole and do a quick flash. Right now, my bubble is cool and not moving. I have red heat in the blowpipe, and here's the honey, just the right temperature, and ready to go. It's a little bit hot, so I'm just going to wait a second. And then when I stick it on, I'm not going to push it in or anything. I'm just going to touch it lightly and let it stick, and then center by rolling and pushing lightly with the tweezers. And the last thing I'm going to do is make sure that I can see glass in between the end of the rod and the bottom of the cup, because you don't want to push the rod through into the bottom of the cup. Ready? Now, one drop of water, little tap, and it breaks off. Now I'm not going to flash the punny at all. I'm just going to heat the upper shoulder and the opening, because the punny's still really super hot. I'm going to let that cool down a little bit and stop moving. And what I'm looking for here is for the jagged lip where it just broke off the blowpipe to smooth out a little bit. You can sort of see it through the side of the cup. And when it gets a little bit warm, I'm going to do a real quick flash. I'm going to go back to the bench. I'm going to take one of my jack blades. I'm going to open the hole just a little bit. And then I'm going to go ahead and flatten it a little and make sure that it's nice and round. You get everything lined up nice and round and flat here, flat across the lip and a round hole, then when you open it up next time, it'll come out straight. So, first thing I'm going to do, flash, then back up and heat just the lip. this time I'm going to get the lift really hot because I want to stretch and open the whole thing all at once. I don't mean stretch for length, I mean stretch the opening so it gets thinner as it opens. Now it's all the way open, I'm going to use my jacks on the outside to straighten it up. And since the bottom's cold, that becomes my guide for putting the lift where it's going to be, so that we have a straight line from top to bottom. And that looks pretty good.